Hello and welcome in everybody to Sports Prophet TV. This is College Football Capital. We are talking Week 9 college football. It's Monday as always. We always do the show on a Monday, and the reason we do the show on a Monday is to get you guys some closing line value, try to get ahead of some line moves. We definitely did that last week. We ended up 5-3. We're really close to a little better than 5-3, but we'll take it. We have yet to have a losing episode this season on this show. So if you are joining us, if you're watching the show, then you should be happy with the results so far, as are we. Clee, how we doing, buddy?
Good, man. How you guys doing tonight? I mean, as you said, nice little profit week again for us here. Dropping everything on my side right now. But, I was very happy with the way things turned out last week. Let's have another winning week, Prophet. Let's just keep the train rolling.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what it's all about. I mean, losing days, losing weeks, they happen in this business, obviously, but we have been fortunate enough to avoid those so far this season. So, that's fun. Let me get my odds screen up here and we will get to it. All right, so as always, we're going to go with the odds trader screen, which I personally like just because it shows so many different options, and you can kind of sift through and see everything. Of course, great time of year for college football. We've got more Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday action, as well as Friday, as well as one of the biggest games of the week on Friday, which we will get to, but
I think it's my favorite game of the weekend, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it might be mine too. So I'm really excited about talking about that one with you. But we will start with Tuesday. More Conference USA action here. I don't know about you, but I think I'm ready for the action to take over there.
Got 2 weeks. I looked it up today.
Yeah, I'm about ready for this.
I was like, come on, we gotta be getting close. I just looked it up finally. I was like, oh, we got next week, and then it's the following week finally.
I'll tell you what really made it feel like football season last year. I remember taking my daughter trick-or-treating, went over to my parents' house, and we walked in on October 31st on Halloween, and it was Toledo and Buffalo, I think, and it was a snow game.
Yep.
And it was like, all right, this is football season. We've got a snow game on Halloween. This is what it's all about. So on like a Wednesday or something, right? So that's always fun. But I'll take what I can get at this point in the season. I'm not going to complain too much.
Hey man, in the middle of March, we're going to be like, man, I wish there was football on right now.
Facts.
That's kind of how it always is. You and I always have that chat with each other, like, man, I miss some action.
Yeah, give me some Conference USA, Kennesaw State, please.
Yes, the Fighting Owls.
Exactly. But yeah, let's jump into it. As far as Tuesday's concerned, we got 2 games, these Conference USA games. I'm hearing some potential QB injuries in the Sam Houston State FIU game.
Is that why the line dropped?
Yeah, I can't really confirm anything though. So it's one of those, it's, college football injuries and how they are. I would lean Sam Houston State just because if we get backup quarterbacks, I'll probably be on Sam Houston State because I think they can power football their way to a win, and their defense is solid. So that's the direction I'd be looking. But just a lean for now. The other one, I'm gonna have to dig to even find a play for UTEP La Tech. I was on the over in UTEP FIU last week. UTEP won that game outright. The over cashed. I think UTEP could potentially be a bet on team the second half of the season. They got their first FBS win of the year last week against FIU.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably lean UTEP at 6.5. That would be my lean, just because I think they're a bet on team. I think La Tech is pretty bad, to be honest with you. I think they are. They're not that much better than UTEP, even at home. So I would probably lean UTEP. Any leans or likes for the Tuesday game?
No, not really. Especially with the quarterback news for Sam Houston. Had he been healthy, I probably would have gone with Sam Houston after watching FIU last week, especially. That team's a mess. It's plain and simple. And then, nothing on the other game. Both teams are pretty bad, to say the least. And there's no interest for me there.
Yeah, I think we had a Tuesday and a Wednesday show pick last week, both of which cashed. So nothing official on those Tuesday games. All right, Wednesday games. We got Liberty at Kennesaw State, undefeated Liberty at 0-6 Kennesaw State. And then we got Mid Tennessee at Jacksonville State. I don't have anything official for either of these. Let me see.
I'll be honest. Can you click on the Jacksonville, Mid Tennessee? I do like the total in that one. I'll make it an official show play for me for Jacksonville State, Middle Tennessee.
Okay.
I think we get points there. I've been very happy lately with
Which
the way
one,
Jacksonville State, Middle Tennessee.
Okay, that's the only lean I've got too. I think I know where you're going with this one.
I've been very happy watching Jacksonville State's offense, especially lately. Middle Tennessee's defense is very, very bad. I've watched them a few times this year. They made Duke's offense look really good, and that's saying a lot if you've watched Duke this year. Jacksonville State still run tempo with Rich Rod at the quarterback, at the helm there. The quarterback play has been very good lately for them ever since they switched quarterbacks, and they were scoring last week with the second stringer in. So if this game does get out of hand, which the line kind of indicates that it could, Jacksonville State starter at the start of the year is now the backup. So there's not a huge amount of drop off there in terms of production, but the starter now has been a lot better for them, obviously, and very happy with what Jacksonville State's been doing offensively. So I like the over with that game. So official show pick number 1, Jacksonville State, Middle Tennessee over. I think it's 63.5, I believe.
Okay, so official.
Yep.
We've got. I'm going to try to start typing these in today. So we got Jack
Orlando
State.
City win.
Yeah, Jack State and Mid Tennessee State over. Looks like we got a 63 there.
Yeah,
63, and that is our first official show pick.
Ooh, look at that. We're fancy now.
So I was looking at this one because I'm going to look to continue to fade both of these defenses. I get why this spread is big just because I have a hard time seeing Mid Tennessee State keep up. But I don't mind a team total on the dog here just because I think Jacksonville State's defense is – I mean, it's not as bad as Mid Tennessee State, but it's really bad. Middle Tennessee State's team total is at a 20.5 minus 125 on DraftKings right now. I think that's a good look too. I think they can contribute here to this over. But let me write that down. We got our first show pick. So Jack State, and that was my lean on this one as well. So I'm with you here, Clee. Over 63. The tempo will be there. No defense at all for Mid Tennessee State. I have not been impressed with. This is not the same Jacksonville State team from last year, obviously. So as far as defense is concerned, but I am with you here. All right, there's our first one, first show pick. So we do have a Wednesday show pick. Nice. All right, let's go to Thursday. The games get better as we go. So Georgia Southern at ODU. Nothing official here for me, but I would definitely lean with Georgia Southern. I think this potentially I could if that gets to 3, I'd probably have to fire on Georgia Southern. The way this defense has been set up under Womack is Womack still there? Hold on. Let me make sure I'm not talking on my ass here. Georgia Southern.
I'm gonna have a spoiler for you while you look that up. I'm gonna have a show.
It's Clay Helton. It's Clay Helton.
It's Clay now. Yeah, he's been there for
Yeah. No. Yeah. Okay. I think Womack was at
USC legend Clay Helton.
Yeah, Clay Helton. He's a good coach. So the way that defense has been set up, not the best secondary, but always physical at the line of scrimmage, and
Mm-hmm.
they're a little undersized. That they try to create havoc, but they're usually decent again when they can stuff the box and stop the run. They're good. If you can do that against Old Dominion, it puts them in down and distance, and they really have a hard time hitting explosive plays. Which the Old Dominion offense is basically, if anybody watched Baylor when Coach Bryles was there, it's the same type of offense. They've got the receivers outside the numbers, basically standing on the sidelines. They try to make you pick, they try to make you give them a clear run box or a clear pass box. That's basically how they do it. It looks just like Baylor did back in that 2009 to 2015 era. And if you can crowd the box and stuff the run on early downs, they're pretty much screwed. So I think Georgia Southern can do that here. And Georgia Southern is kind of under the radar because they're not bad. They're not about they're 5-2, and most people had them kind of going this way going into the season because of some of their losses at receiver and quarterback. But looks like almost like the same team to me as last year. So they filled in nicely, and Old Dominion is hot and cold because I think some teams know how to defend that offense and some teams don't. So I like Georgia Southern here. Heck, I'll make it official. I'll make. I'm sitting here talking myself into it. So let's go with a second one. Georgia Southern plus 2.5 there. Official show pick number 2. I like it. I like the matchup. I think ODU again is, they're up and down because of basically who they play matchup wise. So, all right.
You might as well just click on the second one there on Thursday because I have a second show pick for the show.
Okay.
Show pick for the show. That sounds like an excellent one.
So we will keep that show pick up, and we will go to Syracuse and Pitt. And this line has moved. This line, I want to say, I've got my openers here, opened at Pitt -4, and now we're looking at 5.5, 6.
Look, I think we get points again here. Me and my totals there, Profit is, I'm a huge fan of them, and this is one of them that I definitely am of. We know Pitt runs tempo. I think Syracuse with Cal McCord lately, especially this year, that sounds like an oxymoron, but you know what I mean. They've been really, I guess I'd say, great offensively this season. I've been very impressed with that. The only, sluggish type game they've had, it was the NC State game a couple weeks ago, but they're coming off a bye, and I think we get points again. So Pitt, we know, as I said, their tempo, they have a good offense. Syracuse defense is spotty at best. We've seen them give up points against the likes of Ohio this year, to the likes of UNLV this year. And I think Pitt can do the same type of, damage in this one. So I know it's a little higher at 61.5, but I think we get there. This is probably the first one to 35 wins the game in this one, and I think it's close. So 35-31, probably right around there, I think, is your final score in this one. Wouldn't be shocked if Syracuse wins as well. I think they're slightly the better team in this one. So if you're looking for a side, 6 points is a lot.
Yeah.
I love their wide receiver play. They can still run it. And as I said, Kyle's playing well. Props to him. He looks relaxed. I think that's the biggest thing. Not as much pressure at Syracuse as there is at Ohio State. And I just mean that with all due respect. So yeah, over 61.5 for Syracuse. Pitt is my show pick number 2.
Cool. Yeah. And Syracuse has got a legit, obviously Kyle McCord's been good, but the receiving core has been really good this year too. Legit receiving core. All right, Friday games.
Boston College is dead to me, by the way.
All right, we'll just skip that game because I don't have anything for that one anyway. So yeah. Let's get to the big one and potentially the game of the week. This is number 17 Boise State going to UNLV. This is basically, if either of these teams have a chance at the college football playoff, this is it. I mean, this is both of these teams' game of the year. UNLV has obviously taken care of business against several Power 5 teams to this point. So has Boise. Ashton Jeanty, Heisman favorite, great run game. They obviously have played better at home, but that's nothing new. Boise always plays better on the blue turf. Huge fan of UNLV. We've talked about them at length on this show with Coach Odom, and how fun that go-go offense is, and
the Haj Mahal.
Yeah, the Haj Mahal, exactly. So that's a fun story too, because the offense literally got better when Sluka left. So look. I'll say this about this game. I think UNLV is going to be a popular underdog in this game, and that scares me. But I'm going to be on them. I'm going to take it at 3 or better. And there's a 3.5 here, obviously at -121. I probably won't take that. I would rather just take the 3. If that 3.5 gets to like a -115 or better, yeah, count me in. So there's a lot of different ways to look at this game, right? Boise State, UNLV last year. I remember that game because I was on Boise in a pretty big way, and Boise blew them out in Las Vegas. It was 44-20. Jeanty and the other running back they had, the Samoan kid, ran all over UNLV, just huge gashing, gaping holes in this UNLV defensive front the entire game. It was a beatdown. It was 44-20, but the game was really not even that close, right? So you got the revenge factor. You look at, well, has Boise gotten better? Yeah, they've probably gotten better. Has UNLV gotten better? Yes, they've gotten better. Who's gotten more better? I don't know if that's the right grammar, but I think revenge factor is huge. I think UNLV has had this game circled. Obviously, both teams have it circled at this point. UNLV's defensive front has gotten better. Okay, and that's big for me because they can at least slow down the run. Boise, we talk about these guys all the time. Anytime they play somebody that can throw the ball at all, their defensive backs struggle because they're big, physical, tackling defensive backs. They're not really twitchy coverage guys. So I know UNLV is going to be a popular underdog. I know that's a little bit scary. I think this is their game, though. I think this is UNLV is kind of a team of destiny this year in a lot of ways. I think they got better with Haj Malik. They got more balanced. They can pass and throw, they can run and throw. Boise can throw some too. They get some shots, but I think they really rely on the run game. And it's in Vegas, so this is huge. I mean, both of these are great teams. Both of these teams are really good. This is going to be a fun game. I got to lean with the home dog here.
Sidewise, I agree. I'm more than likely going to have a play on the total in this game. I just don't know where the stops come from. I do agree with you. UNLV's rush defense has improved, but we haven't seen anyone, and I'm talking Oregon included, be able to slow down Ashton Jeanty. And I've seen a defense from UNLV get gashed by the likes of Syracuse and others this year. And I think it's more of the, can we limit the big runs than, all right, make them earn, 7 to 8 instead of 30 to 40. I guess the good way. Right. You've watched them this year against Hawaii, against, and go on with the teams they faced. And it's always, you look like you're going to get them down for 6 or 7, and all of a sudden it's 20 to 25 or 30. And I think that's the biggest key for UNLV. And at the same time, I don't know where the stops come for Boise State. You hit it right on the head with their pass defense. I think Hodge is going to have a huge game here. I love him. I absolutely love watching him play and everything he does. with that offense. And I can't believe the fact that he was just chilling in on the bench for what was it, the first 3 games of the year?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible to me. It's a great game. It's maybe the first of 2 meetings. It's may decide if a team can sweep that, probably who will get that number 12 seed. Army Navy pending if one of them can beat Notre Dame.
Right.
Who gets that 12 seed in the playoff. I'm excited to watch this. I think, I will be up at 10:30 Eastern for this one. I can't wait. And Boise's going to bring a lot of people to Vegas too. We know how well they travel.
Yeah.
The circa people are already talking about the orange rush that's going to come through by Friday, and how fun they were a year ago, and they can't wait for them to show back up this year.
For sure. It's good. Yeah, that's going to be a great one. Can't wait for it. Friday.
Side note, love the fact that Rutgers is playing a body clock game at 11 p.m. Eastern this week.
Yeah.
I wish it was under 14, or I'd make it an official show pick, but for the life of me, I don't trust anything with USC right now because of that reason. Maybe lean towards USC team total. It's not out yet, but Rutgers has shown a very much of an inability especially the last 2 weeks against Wisconsin and UCLA last week to get any stops whatsoever. So I would look towards that as well. I'll probably have a full card on Friday. I'll put it that way with those 2 games. But
yeah, I don't want anything to do with Rutgers right now.
Yeah. And USC is just a mess.
They are. They're hard to figure out what's going on. All right, on to Saturday. We'll just kind of sift through here. I do like Notre Dame against Navy. Trying to decide how I want to play it. I may end up just like kind of throwing them in a money line parlay or something. I think they're just going to be too much for Navy. Navy's a good story this year. I think Army is better than Navy. I think Army is the better of the two by quite a bit. I think if Notre Dame does not overlook Navy, which they shouldn't, this is a neutral site. They should drop them. I mean, Notre Dame still has a top 5 defense in college football. You get to a point where, like, yes, the triple option and the gadgets, it works against people that are better than you. But then when you get to like the top 5 talent, it's like, okay, this doesn't work anymore. Like this just, it's too much of a mismatch all over the field. So I like Notre Dame. Yeah.
I think actually Notre Dame's starting to click. I mean, it took them a couple weeks to get going here. Obviously, the loss for NIU was, just kind of unacceptable. But we've known they've had a good defense all year, and they're starting to use Riley Leonard in the right way. Again, it took them a little bit to figure that out. But, I agree with you on the whole Army versus Navy assessment as well. That Army offense is incredible. That was one of my wins this past weekend was Army team total, and that hit in the middle of start of third quarter.
They're so fun. Yeah. They're really fun. All right, I'm gonna have at least 2 here on the screen that I'll throw out. I'm gonna roll with Ohio against Buffalo minus the 6. Let me pull this up and then type this in as an official play. And then obviously I'm interested to see how you feel about this one. This was up there in MAC country, so
you should have told me beforehand. I have a 1970 Ohio University Bobcat pennant in my room.
Do you really?
Yeah.
That's badass. So look, Buffalo, they have been pretty bad defensively. One of the worst MAC teams as far as defense goes. Allowed 48 to Western Michigan, 47 at UConn. Both of those teams know how to run the ball. Ohio, to me, got downgraded way too much from last season. As far as the market, right? I really feel like this is a very solid Ohio team. People were expecting them to take a big step down. The defense is solid. The quarterback play, believe it or not, has actually been better than injured Curtis Rourke, because Curtis Rourke was never right last year. He looks great now for Indiana, but he was never right last year for Ohio. Like, just he was hurt. He was like, well, just like Cam Rising is not the same player when he's hurt. It was the same thing with Curtis Rourke. So I think Ohio is actually as good or better than they were last year, even though they don't have quite as much name power, star power, whatever you want to call it. I don't see Buffalo getting stops in this game. I think Ohio gets what they want on offense. Ohio would have to really overlook Buffalo here for them not to cover this, because Buffalo's defense has just been horrible, and Buffalo away from Buffalo is not the same team ever, like almost any season. So, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, Ohio's been, kind of the class of the MAC for the last 10 years or so. Somebody say Toledo, but I would still go with the Bobcats with the consistency with that program, even after Solich left. And I think one of the reasons why we thought the way we did about Ohio was how just killed they got in the transfer portal this offseason, whether it was their starting tight end, obviously Rourke, they had a wide receiver leave too, a defensive player. So I think they've done a great job replacing them. They have some nice wins in the schedule, South Alabama being one of those. They really shut down that offense for the Jaguars. For Buffalo, I think on the flip side, I think they really, I mean this with all non-sexual tense, but shot their load 2 weeks ago against Toledo. There's no other way I could say it. And last week against Western Michigan, I thought it was more of the representation of who they are when they just couldn't, as you said, get a stop at all against the Broncos. So I think Ohio's the right side here. Ohio's coming off a loss. They didn't play well against Miami. I will say that. So I think this is a nice bounce back spot against them after the Red Hawks, as we call them over here. Really, really took it to them last Saturday. So, I think Ohio's the right side here.
Cool. All right, down we go. Just talked about Notre Dame Navy.
Indiana.
Yeah, I will have something for Washington, Indiana, but not for the show.
Yeah.
If you have anything.
No, I'm interested. I'm just going to stay off it in general because obviously O'Rourke's injury is going to. I just want to see. I know it's Jackson. He's had playing time before, but I don't know how that rolls from the get-go. I mean, by the time he came in last week, Nebraska had already quit anyway. So
right.
Yeah.
Speaking of Nebraska, might as well jump down to this one.
Do we have a team total for Ohio State anywhere?
I can find it.
Because I will make that an official play. I couldn't find one on DraftKings earlier. It may have been too early.
I find it hard to believe Nebraska is not going to somewhat, at least from a motivation perspective, try to bounce back defensively, because it couldn't have gotten any worse. Ohio State team total is you can get a 36.5 at -130, or you can go 37.5 for -110.
36.5 is fine. I think they score again here. I think Nebraska will respond a little bit better, but I just think Ohio State has too many weapons. They had a bye week to stew over the loss. I think that's probably the worst thing that happened to Nebraska in this one. And if there was one silver lining out of that game against Oregon, was the offense still looked pretty good. So, give me the Buckeyes team total over 36.5. I think, anytime, I've told you this before on the show, anytime it's below 40, it's an auto play for me just because how good that offense is. And I just think, they'll get well into the high 30s, low 40s in this one. Maybe even the total in general. I just don't like rooting for Nebraska's offense, to be honest with you.
Right.
I think Raiola is going to be good. That boy's going through some growing pains right now. And the last thing he wants to be doing is against a pissed off Ohio State defense. So the rumor is they're going to be blitzing more this week. Rumor is they're going to be a little more pressure than they were against Oregon. So I know Lathan Ransom may be out for the game, but they have some studs waiting in the wings. Caleb Downs is still there. So, yeah, I really like the Ohio State team total there.
Yeah, so I'll say this about Nebraska because one of my good buddies is Nebraska alumni, and here's the situation in my opinion. Matt Rule, he's a good coach, but he's a program builder. He left college football to the NFL. He comes back. The whole landscape has changed with NIL and transfer portal. Nebraska brought in the least amount of starters in the transfer portal than anybody in the country. So that's got to change. They've got to spend money. They've got to go get with the program. They got to bring in some big splash talent. And he probably needs a new offensive coordinator. That would be a start. The defense is always going to be okay under Rule at the very worst, and the defense will just continue to improve under Rule, going into year 3 next year, right? They've got to make some splashes in NIL for if they ever want to actually compete for the Big Ten and be Nebraska and actually, get back to being recognized as a blue blood, right? I mean, we know they're a blue blood. We talked about it last week, but as far as like everybody going, oh yeah, Nebraska's Nebraska, they've got to make some splashes. You can't build a program like it's 1992 anymore. It's just it's not the same thing. So
there's a lot of, and I'm not sure if your friend has said this, but there's a lot of seeing online, a lot of Nebraska fans very upset with Matt Rule right now. Not with the way he's done things, but the fact that Indiana's got a first-year coach and it's making that big of an impact that early, and he's on year 2. And look, I'm not saying it. This is just nut job Cornhusker Nation that's saying.
No, I get it, but I mean that's look what Signetti's done. He brought in his defensive line, all of his coaches. He brought in tons of talent. They made a bunch of moves. They brought in Curtis Rourke. Indiana has done it. Like they have fully grasped the transfer portal, and that's why you're gonna have teams go from nothing to being really good. Like this is what it is now. If you've got the money, if you make the right moves, it's free agency. So that's just what it is now. And Matt Rule has he's a smart enough guy. He will get with the program. I guarantee you next year is going to look a lot different as far as the moves that they made. I mean, we're noticing this as handicappers, how we've got to approach, preseason stuff and even early season stuff. You can't put as much stock into last year anymore because it doesn't matter so much. So the coaches are realizing it as well. All right, we will keep it moving. As always, Clee, if you see anything, you can stop me.
Is there a bounce back for Eastern Carolina with the new coach this week?
I would definitely lean that way because I don't think Eastern Carolina is that horrible. I think Temple is potentially pretty bad in a buzzsaw situation, which that's could be what they're walking into, right? Ultra motivated ECU. I would lean that way, no doubt about it. If you like it enough, we can show pick it if you want.
No, I after watching that Eastern Carolina defense, there's nothing about that.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is motivation though.
Motivation,
yeah. So
the Battle of I-75 on Saturday too.
Is that this one? I don't know the highways.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Good job there, buddy.
Well, I mean, I am like I'm a geometry or not geometry. I can't even talk right now. Like a
geographical sense wizard.
Yeah, I'm a geographical nut. I love it. I love maps. I love all that stuff, but I don't know what your highways are in Ohio.
Yeah, it's like a strip of highway that goes up through Ohio and Michigan. And
we've got backup
universities are on it. What?
Bowling Green's is their quarterback's not playing.
Yeah, I was gonna say anyways. I like Toledo. I'll be honest with you. I've been very happy with the Rockets outside of that Buffalo game 2 weeks ago. They've kind of owned this series too. I think Bowling Green won a year ago. That kind of snapped a long streak in it, but not a long streak, but Toledo's pretty much dominated the series. So I lean Toledo minus the 2.5. I'm not going to make an official show pick, but that's my take. Bowling Green's got an excellent tight end. The name slips in my mind right now, but that kid's a beast. But Bowling Green on the road this year, they probably should have lost against Akron, to be honest with you, a couple weeks ago. The Zips kind of blew it there. Yeah, I think Toledo gets the job done on Saturday again. At the Glass Bowl.
I think this game goes way under.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, I don't think Toledo's and Toledo may cover and they may win and may win and cover, like you said. I just don't think Toledo is as explosive as they were last year. And Bowling Green is going to be in full on chew the clock and try to salvage a win here mode.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the under, but let's talk about the team that's sitting on top of the Big 12. They were literally dead last or second to last in Big 12 season futures going into the season. Brigham Young, 7-0, number 11 team in the country. These guys were picked dead last in the Big 12. And all they've done is destroyed Kansas State, destroyed Arizona.
Figured out a way to beat Oklahoma State last week, which is, they got the job done.
Beat a good SMU team on the road. I was on Oklahoma State plus 10. I think that was even a show pick for us. And I cited all of the BYU turnover luck this season. Like they Kansas State and Arizona games combined, it was like 8 turnovers for Kansas State and Arizona on only 1 for BYU. So like obviously some of that was going to turn around. This game against Oklahoma State was 2 turnovers for Oklahoma State, 3 for BYU. No doubt about it. Like you can't really sugarcoat it. BYU won on a walk-off. So, I mean, there's no two ways to look at that. But looking at this game, I like the matchup. Like if it's just X's and O's and it's just man on man, I like the matchup for BYU, but I do not like that this is like the first legitimate road game from Provo to Orlando at the bounce house, undefeated BYU. I get why this line's moving a little bit in favor of BYU because BYU has been great against the run. I think they'll stuff the UCF run. For a lot of this game, UCF has been really bad in the secondary. Retzlaff, the quarterback at BYU, is really good. He's been putting the ball in the money. I just think this is like totally out of BYU's comfort zone. I have some real concerns, and I'm very tempted to fade BYU back-to-back weeks. And I'm not a huge fan of UCF, but they played pretty well last week, and they're back at the bounce house here. This has got to be the end of the line for BYU's undefeated season. What do you think?
There's the Sony Sataki factor too.
Yes, we cannot forget about that guy. Holy moly!
I thought it was going to hit last week. Truthfully,
right.
Thankfully, I was on BYU team total, which hit on, and I teased them down to 2.5 at that point. So I was very beneficial of that last touchdown. Both were winners there. I don't just you hit all the points you made, especially the fact they're on the road for the first time, really true road game.
Other than Baylor, but I mean, yeah. I live in Waco, and nobody goes to the Baylor games this year. So I mean,
UCF, it's a weird team. It's a weird university in terms of the way they get up for games, and this is one they will definitely get up for. The fact of the top 15 team coming in. My only concern for UCF is they played so well last week, and to lose that game like they did, is it an emotional letdown? And go ahead, sir.
I don't think so because they were on the road.
Okay.
I would say like if this was flipped and UCF was going to Provo, okay.
Yeah.
But you're in your wheelhouse. Like you're in the bounce house. Like that's just my 2 cents.
They got that 2015 national champ banner up there,
Hey, don't forget it. That's one of the greatest stories in college football history. But
They had a damn parade for it.
hey, I mean,
I was living down there when it was happening. Oh my
were you
gosh.
really?
Yeah. Oh god.
That's funny, dude.
They had a parade and everything. National champion parade.
And then another storyline here is I guess it's not going to be KJ Jefferson because the other kid played against Iowa State and actually played pretty well.
Yeah.
So I kind of would prefer KJ Jefferson. Oh, he didn't play well, actually. He went 8 for 20 with no touchdowns and 2 interceptions. He averaged 3.1 yards a completion. So, and they still almost won the game.
My issue also is UCF runs the ball very well. We know that. BYU had a hard time last week of slowing down the run game. It was the first time Ali Gordon really got going this year overall. And they had trouble with the speed of Oklahoma State, the little jitterbug wide receiver that they have. The name skips my mind right now, but he's the one that scored the late touchdown to take the lead. I think this is – if there's ever time for UCF to get them, I think this is definitely a prime spot for them. They again, the matchup issue here actually may lean the over too, to be honest with you.
I'm gonna put this one on hold for now.
Yeah.
Put it on the back burner. And if you're watching the show, just take a note. If KJ Jefferson plays for UCF, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in.
BYU, I mean, the thing is with UCF is, they have issues in their secondary. We saw what Colorado, I know Shador is a lot better than Getzlaff, but still, I mean, there's
sure.
The wide receiver play for BYU is good. I'm not just
they are good.
Just proving that, but it's going to be on the card some way on Saturday. I just don't know which way yet.
If KJ Jefferson plays, I potentially have a big bet on UCF. I just think the spot is horrible for BYU. All right, we will keep it moving. I got some more MAC games here.
This is not out officially yet, but there's a heavy lean for me on Western Michigan team total on Saturday versus Kent State.
Can't blame you there. I mean,
just a terrible defense. Ball State did what they wanted with them a couple weeks ago. Eastern Michigan, same thing. I just don't know where the stops come from. And we saw last week what Western Michigan did to Buffalo on the road. Now they're back home. They can score in bunches, and I think they definitely can do it here. So that's one to keep an eye on my end.
38.5 minus 105. So, Western Michigan was a team I was pretty high on going into the season. They started the season rough. Obviously, their defense is kind of their issue because they're having a hard time stopping offenses themselves. But good offense, good run game. I think they'll have a decent season in the MAC. All right, we will keep it moving here. Rice at UConn. That's interesting. Maryland.
The battle of those who have beaten USC's on Saturday. Maryland and Minnesota.
That's a good point. I would absolutely lean Maryland getting 4 and a hook, even on the road. I know Maryland is kind of a funky team this year. I'm not a huge fan of Loxley.
Hate Loxley.
But, dude, anybody with a pulse is all but shutting down the Minnesota offense. So, quarterback in Minnesota, the offense is just disgusting for me. But nothing there officially. Oklahoma State, Baylor. Oh man. How are we not taking the points with Oklahoma State here again?
That's exactly what I was about to say. I think they figured some things out last week. They can still kind of salvage the season a little bit here. Bowman's been there for 400 years. We know that. Ali Gordon started running the ball better last week. Baylor's just not good. We know that. You know that. You live right by them. You know what? You want to make this an official show pick, partner?
I'm cool. I'm fine with it. I mean, I'm all for fading. Baylor's strength is the defense somewhat, and I could even see this being a little bit of a higher scoring game, but Oklahoma State's got the better roster. You can't really credit much to Baylor for like a home field advantage. They're probably, I would only have Houston ranked less or ranked lower than them this season because, Baylor's not really getting crowds or anything. I would have them as like the second worst home field advantage in the Big 12. So we'll do it. Oklahoma State plus 6.5.
I just think it's too many points. I think it's a field goal game.
I think it's a field goal game too. I think you just want to avoid Bowman throwing like 4 picks or something, right? And the weird thing about that, I think he might actually play better with Rangel hurt because there's no opportunity for Rangel. He's not looking over his shoulder at Rangel.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy. Rangel's out for the year. Gundy clearly had a preference for Rangel because he kept putting him in the game over and over. If he had kept Bowman in the game against Utah, they might have won the game. I mean, that totally changed the game. You take your starter out that's played great all season for
that damn Utah game.
That was So all right, I'll move on. I'll keep it moving. Not going to dwell on anything. We're on a good run. So
Missouri, Alabama's interesting to me. Missouri's coming off of that emotional win at no right winning that game against Auburn. Alabama is just it's a mess there.
Is Brady Cook hurt?
He'll be back. He's playing.
Okay. Missouri's pissed me off the whole season.
Yeah.
But I don't think Alabama's defense is any good.
Yeah.
So lean Missouri, and that's
undisciplined right now. I mean, did you see the 4th and 1 play, by the way? Where they quarterback sneak and the 2 wide receivers are shooting jump shots on the outside.
No.
I gotta send you that clip because it is unbelievable. Like their quarterback sneaking and Ryan Williams and the other kid who's ever out there, I can't remember who it was, are just going.
It's part of the play?
Part of the play, supposedly.
Just having
this is Nick Saban's Nick Saban's team a year ago.
Oh, Nick Saban was probably vomiting.
7 games it took for that to dissipate.
Good Lord. All right.
I was on Tennessee +3, by the way. Sorry, I just want to pat myself back.
Did we make that a show pick? I can't remember if we did.
No, we didn't. I think we
talked about it.
Gave out a heavy lean towards it though.
Let's go with. All right, let's talk about this one. We got a top 20 matchup. Number 1, Oregon. For goodness sakes. Dude. Oregon's not 21.5 points better. I'm sorry. I know, like I know I've been giving a lot of underdog love here. I don't think Oregon does any one thing like elite.
Mm-hmm.
They're good. They're definitely like a top 5 team. I lean Illinois. I mean, I don't know. I think Illinois can potentially run the ball in Oregon. And that's kind of a big deal. If Illinois could run the ball in Oregon.
If Illinois wants to win this game or cover it, Altmaier's got to throw for more than 80-something yards, more than last week.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
Michigan's got an absurdly talented. Michigan's got a better defense than Oregon.
Yeah, I'm just saying. That just put it in.
Yeah.
Oregon to me, like, I think they're very good. Again, I think if Ohio State plays them again in Indy, I think Ohio State does win that game.
I would have a big bet on Ohio State if they play again.
Side note, Derrick Henry is going off tonight. With Illinois, they have dudes on that defense. I'll put it that way. We saw that last week. Now, I know they're not going to be as one-dimensional as Michigan was. No team out. Even Army isn't running the ball as much as Michigan is now.
Right.
But I think they can do a good job of getting pass rush on Oregon. I lean that way as well.
Okay. Cool. We'll leave that as a lean.
I haven't a show pick. I have one.
What we got?
The other top 25 matchup right there.
Okay.
I am going to ride the Vandy train
Are you
till
really?
the wheels fall off right now. 19 points with Texas coming off of back-to-back emotional weeks with rumors floating around. Now, it sounds like Quinn put him to bed, but the fact that it got out there says something about him possibly wanting to sit the rest of the season or something like that. I mean, 24/7 had the graphic, and then now they're saying that they got hacked or whatever. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
But with that said, Vandy had a bad game last week and still beat Ball State. I think they got caught looking ahead clearly, and I really love what they do. Pavia is a really good quarterback. I'm not going to say great, but really good. They're getting 19 points at home.
Yeah.
With that offense and a defense that has been very optimistic. I think is the right word. I don't know. They've been very timely with their turnovers. There you go.
Opportunistic.
Optimistic. Thank you. That's the Akron education coming out of me. And I just think this is too many points. Is Vanderbilt going to win this game? Probably not, but you're giving me 19 points at home to a team that, is rolling like they are right now. I think there's a lot of love towards Texas because, there's no way they played 2 bad games in a row. Vanderbilt looked bad against Ball State, etc. And I just think, overall, I think this is just way too many points. So, give me the Commodores official show pick, Vanderbilt plus 19. I just think this is way too many points.
Okay. Fair enough. I don't really have much for that game. Let's see.
I'm letting you know that I did take the over 78.5 last week in New Mexico and Utah State.
Did that cash?
100% did.
Oh,
Start
man.
the fourth quarter.
Good Lord. Yeah, New Mexico cannot play a lick of defense. Neither can Utah.
What is it at this week?
New Mexico and Colorado State is at
65. I'm telling you right now, it'll probably be on the card. That's another look at this juncture of the year. And Prophet, I'm sure you feel the same way. If you find something that works, keep riding it.
Absolutely.
And that for me has been New Mexico overs. And we see it in the first show. This is a team that's going to be an over team all season. The over last week was 78.5. 78.5. And I believe it got up to 90-something last check. I mean, look, they don't play a lick of defense, but they do play good offense. And Utah State's got equally as bad defense. Now, I'm not going to take Utah State's over this week because Wyoming's offense is god-awful. But, yeah, New Mexico, Colorado State will more than likely be on the card on Saturday. I'm not going to make it an official show pick, but go to my page and find it. I'll put it that way.
Speaking of the Cowboys, that's where I'm going.
Awesome.
Right
Great
now.
segue. I knew it.
I don't know how you knew it, but you were right. So it looks like we got a money line at FanDuel at -120 for Wyoming. That's where I'm going to be going for this one. This is one of those things like, yes, is this a horrible version of Wyoming? Yeah, they're pretty bad. I wouldn't say they are as bad. They're not as the drop off that Air Force took this year. Wyoming hasn't quite fallen that far, but definitely, not great. But here's the thing: Wyoming in Laramie, they're gonna get what because anybody can get what they want against Utah State, right? Yes, this is like a dollar store version of the Wyoming team that we had a year ago, but even a dollar store version of the Wyoming team from last year is going to be able to score enough on Utah State and get stops at home. So I think this is a big opportunity for Wyoming to get a second win of the season. Another thing is this: these are college kids. They're 1-6. They know they've got 5 games left on the schedule. And they are holding out hope. I guarantee you, these kids, even if they're delusional, they are holding out hope that they can win the last 5 games of the year. So this is technically a must-win game for Wyoming. I banked on a similar position last week against Oklahoma State because it was basically a must-win game. So coming off the bye. So going with Wyoming here. Look, Wyoming's not good, but Utah State can't stop anybody. Wyoming will score enough. They're the only two defenses on the field that will be able to get any stops at all. So I think Wyoming's the side here. It's not a fun one. Hold your nose, but let's cash, right?
Oh, yeah. No, I feel the same way. Utah State's defense is just so incredibly poor that Wyoming should be able to have some success. And, Laramie is a weird place to play.
It's tough.
Seen it many times in the past. Yeah, it's kind of like Provo. Just hold your nose there and let it go.
All right, we got a couple more with meat on the bone here. Not a Wyoming game. I do not like LSU a whole lot this year. I would lean Texas A&M in the Texas A&M LSU game. Let's see, just a lean. Anything on Penn State, Wisconsin? That's kind of
I love the Badgers on Saturday.
What is it?
Night game at Wisconsin. I love the Badgers.
Okay.
Night game at Wisconsin is so the people don't realize that is one of the toughest environments in college football. I put a top 10 night game in Madison. Like, they'll get up for this one. Plus, Wisconsin's been playing good ball the last couple weeks.
They have.
They figured some things out once Van Dyke got hurt. And they throttled with Northwestern last week, and the week before that they throttled Rutgers at Rutgers. So Penn State may end up winning the game, but 6.5 is way too many points in this situation, especially with the track record of James Franklin in big games. And this is definitely one of them here on the road. So,
Yeah. Feels like a 4 to me. Feels like it should be like at a 4.
3.5, 4 is what I would have it at.
Yeah.
I think you're getting some value here with the Badgers at home. That place is going to be rocking. And this is really, truly, the West Virginia game, I guess, maybe at the start of the year, but this is a true home field advantage for Wisconsin in this one.
Wisconsin has definitely turned a corner. They've definitely found their stride. They were very unconvincing the first 4 games of the year, but they look like a completely different team. I know that it's been Purdue, Rutgers, and Northwestern, but that has coincided with the quarterback change to when Van Dyke got hurt. Now it's been Braden Locke, and he's played well. So, they look a lot better. Not crazy high on the Penn State on these Penn State team this year. So,
Penn State's got Ohio State next week too.
Oh boy, I like that.
Yeah, I think that's one of those games where they're going to try to get in and get out. And if they win by 1, they win by 1. I'm with you on Texas A&M as well. I think the better defense wins out here. I think they'll have some success offensively. And I also lean towards Michigan State on Saturday. I think now this isn't an official anything. I just, message board drama. Maybe a chance Will Johnson's played his last game at Michigan. I'm not sure if that's going to be official or not. But even if that's, again, that kind of stuff's creeping out at this point.
Not good.
The lack of offense from Michigan a lot. I think it's a low scoring game, but Michigan State looked very good last week against a good Iowa defense. I'll give them a lot of credit there. Out of their bye week, their run game was working well. Childs, the quarterback, is growing, and that's a huge thing at that position. And it's not an official play for me, but 5.5 is a lot of points. Obviously, rivalry game. And if you remember a year ago, Michigan really embarrassed Michigan State on their home field. So revenge spot as well for the Spartans going into this one. We'll see what happens with Michigan. They haven't announced official quarterback yet this week too. Sharon Moore announced that today. So who knows who's playing quarterback there? Whoever it is, they can't throw the ball. So there's one thing I know Michigan State does well is they do have a good, front seven, and they'll key in on that run like every other team's done here in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. Speaking of Sharon Moore, I think we're at the point in the season now, right? Both of these teams have played 7 games. So we're at the point in the season where coaching is really starting to matter, especially teams that they've got a new coach. It's a new regime. Smith has a massive coaching advantage over Michigan. I mean, it's Michigan State has got the coaching advantage. And you're getting points. Michigan can't throw the football. I'm with you here on this one. All right.
Yeah, not an official play, but I just can't do it with them.
Well, let's look at our last one here. I'm going to have one more on this screen. I think Kansas has turned a corner. I think Jalen Daniels has turned a corner. I like a lot of dogs today. It worries me, but I would only look. I would only look at Kansas and that Kansas State game, getting 10.5. Just because I think Jalen Daniels is Jalen Daniels again. So that's a big deal for Kansas. And then I'm gonna have an official play on the over in Nevada and Hawaii at 46.5. That number's come up a bit. So let me type that in. It's going to be my last one. Nevada. This is on the island too. 6.5. Yeah. So this is gonna be my last one. Nevada, Hawaii. Yepers. Klee, anything on this screen or anything that I missed that you like?
I will say this is a weird spot for getting touch on that what was it, the battle, the sunflower or whatever, sunflower battle or something of that nature, with Kansas and Kansas State.
Yeah.
Kansas State's coming off of a back-to-back roadies of West Virginia and Colorado. And that's interesting to me. Like, how did they respond finally getting back home? As you said, Kansas has kind of started to play a lot better. So I would lean that way. Lean the total with Colorado and Cincinnati. I think this is it's going to be one of those late night high scoring games. I will say Colorado is playing a lot better defensively this season. I'll give them credit there. But Cincinnati's got good offense, but their defense is not good. And I have my doubts on them being able to slow down Shedeur and Travis Hunter and Horn and the rest of that offense. So
yeah,
I definitely lean the total there. Lean Washington State minus the 14 against San Diego State. San Diego State just can't score, and I just don't know how they'll be able to match the number put up by Washington State. I mean, 27-10, you're covering. I don't know where the points come from there. And then with the over there, yeah. I'm the same way with you with that one as well. So kind of in sync here on the final page.
All right, let's talk about this real quick, and we'll close it out. Man, this Colorado team is this team gonna win the Big 12? I mean, because and I'm in Big 12 country, right? So as bad as the Big 12 is an elite quarterback, a top 10 draft pick at quarterback, a top 10 draft pick at receiver, another first rounder at receiver, and Jimmy Horn, tons more talent, like elite college talent at quarterback and receiver, and that's it. Is that enough to win this crappy Big 12? Because I think it might be.
I think right now Kansas State's the best team in the Big 12. I think the final score of that Colorado-Kansas State game is very ill looked at, I guess, because of the way it ended. Remember, Kansas State was up 10 in the fourth quarter in that game. Now, if those two teams meet again, it's going to be in Dallas. It's not going to be in Boulder. Yes, Travis Hunter will be back for that one, hopefully, as long as he stays healthy. But I think Kansas State's the best team. I think Colorado is right there with BYU, truthfully, as kind of that second best team.
Yeah.
Utah's fallen off the map a bit here, and it's just a weird season for the Utes. But I think they have a chance to get to Dallas. But I wouldn't. I think Kansas State's the class of the conference right now. I think Colorado's in that Iowa State, BYU level.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting about Iowa State being undefeated, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Iowa State's weird. Yeah, it's a funky season for the Big 12. Just a lot of mediocrity.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, folks, thanks for tuning in. As always, we are over an hour, and I'm hungry, so I'm gonna run and grab a snack. Start working on some probably some Champions League for tomorrow, and start getting some college football plays sent out. So make sure you guys have liked the video, subscribe to the channel so you never miss a show. We gave out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 official show picks today. So, hey, let's have another winning week. Clee, anything?
I always appreciate the people that watch, feedback, and again, like, share, whole deal. Let's have another winning week. We haven't had a losing week yet this year, and let's not make that a trend at all. So let's make it what are we, week 9 now?
Yep.
9 for 9 or 8 for 8, whatever. We missed one show, but let's keep it rolling, partner. We've done a good job this year, and let's keep it rolling.
Right on. All right. We'll see you guys next week.